Hey, welcome to another edition of Outlawed Live. My name is Ron Stone with my compadre, my partner in crime, Mike Idle. Mike, how's it going?
Doing really well, Ron. We're getting close. If my math is right, we're within 20 days of our first pull. We're excited to go pulling, but Ron, kind of a heavy heart coming on to this show. The Outlaws, it's always an honor to be an outlaw, but this week, it was a little tough. You as well as I'm sure got a phone call that you probably were not expecting, and it's kind of been on all our minds this week.
Yeah, 17 days to be exact now, Mike, till first pull of the season on June 5th there in Norfolk, Nebraska. But I'm sure a lot of the fans out there watching tonight have heard the news a week ago tonight. We lost Dave Bennett of Nenakaw, Oklahoma, longtime voice of the Outlaws, the announcer for the Outlaws. You cannot find a search for an outlaw anything on social media or the internet and not find something that has Dave Bennett's voice on it. Was the voice of the Outlaws for so many years. So, he passed away of a heart attack last Tuesday night. Not what we wanted to hear, Mike. Was looking forward to announcing with Dave one more time in Colbert, Oklahoma last weekend in June. But the good Lord had other plans for him. So
it's definitely a sad day. Like you said, the Outlaws and Dave Bennett, kind of synonymous, really. I was flipping back through and I found a text message that he sent me, and he sent me this message the first year that I started announcing, and to receive a message from someone as iconic as Dave, and as big as the Outlaws are, he was even bigger than that. I mean, he was the announcer at the National Farm Machinery Show. He had announced in several countries all over the world. But the end of this message, and I reread it several times this week, he said, as I look back on my career, he said, I helped put diapers on this fledgling organization that was the Outlaws. And he said, I'm not up there in the crow's nest anymore, but I'm still watching. And then he ended that with, kind of a blessing sign. And I thought to myself, I reread that several times, that part where he said, I'm still watching. Yep. Because, Ron, this whole season, every time you and I pick up a microphone and every time that someone drops a hook or throws a green flag, Dave's going to be up there watching every last bit of it. So that gave me a little solace. I didn't know him exceptionally well, but for him to just throw the support that he's always thrown to the Outlaws and to me and to you and everyone, positive thoughts, reflecting on Dave no matter what.
Yeah, he cared about the organization. He was with the organization for so long, and he was watching every pull he possibly could. And every once in a while he would say something to me, especially if I invoked his name, sometimes I'll, as my buddy Dave Bennett would say, this or that. But and you know what? Some of my favorite, I know that people were asking for your favorite Dave Bennett story, how you interact with Dave Bennett, your best memory and or most highlighted memory of Dave Bennett. And, and I announced with him second time announcing with the Outlaws. I think I get them kind of mixed up. So I announced with Fred one time and then Dave one time, and went to, I think it was Mound City, Kansas. And Dave said, he said, I'm going to open the show. He said, it's all you, and I'm just going to sit back and evaluate. So I had to get his seal of approval to be his replacement with the Outlaws. So, but I remember going and watching as a spectator at the Farm Machinery Show in Louisville and sitting close to the starting line. Of course, where the announcers, they're at the finish line on the opposite side. And I'd get on my phone and text him what was going on there in the staging area if one of the crews was rushing around and scurrying trying to get something fixed. And he'd have the scoop on some of that stuff. And the other announcers would be like, how's he know that? There was a spy up there in the stands behind that staging area, which was me, texting him some information. I think one thing in particular was Bill Leichner's tractor in the modified class. They were replacing an ignition box, and I sent that to Dave, and they were scurrying around there because they were going to get called up at any moment. And I sent that to Dave, and he put it out there like, he knew it for sure what was going on. And they're putting an ignition box in Leicester's tractor. They're rushing to get that done. and it was kind of cool to see it play out in real time.
Yeah.
I was sending him that info, and then he was reporting it. So it was kind of cool. But we're gonna miss him. Gonna miss him.
One thing, Dave, affected one way I would say that honestly, Dave affected my announcing was in a very indirect way. I can remember when I very first started, my goal was to try to kind of play the game, stay very buttoned up, kind of announce the way I feel like you're quote unquote supposed to announce. And I want to give a shout out to Lori Bauer out there. I know she messaged before the show and wanted to make sure that we were all coming live tonight. But it was actually something Lori said to me, kind of speaking through Dave, that really set me on my course. I want to say up at Wisner somewhere in those early days. And she said, Mike, the thing about Dave Bennett is he talked. And he never didn't have something to say. He was someone who could come up with something to say. And right then and there, and I'm sure you know this about me as someone who knows me personally off the show, is I'm a long-winded person. I'm someone who I can always talk. And I thought, well, you know what? If that was good enough for Dave, then that's kind of my green light. If the idea is just let loose and talk the way that you would talk, because I'm one, if you give me a microphone, I'm not going to shut up for a long time. If I meet you, I'm not going to shut up for a long time. And so that was where Dave kind of impacted me just by the way he had impacted others. But yeah, just amazing person, heavy heart, to be an outlaw. But what an honor, Ron, to be, you, Ron Stone, you are the voice of the Outlaws, to kind of pick up that mantle and continue where he left off. I mean, this is one thing about the Outlaws is from Dave to Fred to you, some really, really impressive announcers over the years. And that's got to be, pretty special to you to kind of wear that title that Dave once wore, the voice of the Outlaws, I imagine.
Yeah, they were starting to get some comments there now on everybody had run-ins with Dave. When I say run-ins, I said they met Dave or got his autograph or got to chat with him, and confirming exactly what you were just talking about, how, he always had something to say, and he could talk and talk and talk. But he never met anyone he didn't know, I think.
Yeah.
The post we put out last week, that was something I wanted to make sure was in there, was he could talk to anybody, So Marty Samuelson there checking in, said he's got Dave's autograph there on a cap 3 years ago. He's counting down the days to Ravenna. Also, it was pretty unexpected. Nobody expected.
Yeah.
Dave. We thought, he bounced back rather quickly from the accident 2 years ago, when his wife passed away after the motorcycle accident. Dave got really banged up, a lot worse, I think, than a lot of people realize. And when you get older, you don't bounce back from those things. They tumbled down a mountainside in Arkansas, on a motorcycle, and of course Linda didn't make it, and Dave recovered from his injuries rather quickly, which, thank God, because he was really banged up. A lot of people don't realize he was really banged up in that wreck, but nobody was expecting this. It wasn't even really on the radar,
No, not one bit. That's the first thing I asked. I said, was there something that we didn't know about? And they said, no, he was just out enjoying himself, and that was that. He was known for an announcer of high energy, an announcer who could work the crowd and work an interview possibly as good as anyone who's ever done it. And he had a lot of good tags and one-liners and go-tos, Ron, do you have any favorites, or do you have any that you find yourself kind of going to and borrowing from time to time? What are some of your Dave Bennett signature one-liners, as a fan and an announcer?
I think, of course, what do you say, Chevrolet was a popular one. But I'll go back a little farther, and he didn't do these the last several years, but the mother-in-law jokes that he used
iconic.
Loved those back in the day. I felt bad for his mother-in-law, but I figured that there was an understanding there that it was.
I would imagine,
but it was funny, and I enjoyed the mother-in-laws.
I like stealing, and I try to throw him his credit and always say, as the great Dave Bennett would say, and he had these, spinning and grinning, or for a fact, or the neatest, sweetest, most complete. That's probably my favorite one. The way that would just roll off there without even thinking about it, but. could work a crowd, could work an interview. I mean, just kind of embodies the outlaw spirit and embodies truck and tractor pulling.
Yeah, a lot of people checking in here. Billy Bob Baker, so like his John Wayne Pledge of Allegiance. That was he did that at Whitewright last year. It was cool to have him come do that. But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Telling Dave Bennett stories right now. I know we got Tim McKeown in the green room getting ready. Tim usually has some technical difficulties with his internet stuff, so we'll give him a little bit of time to get things together. Ben Beller checking in. Favorite Dave Bennett story, him explaining how a triple Chevy mod was going to fire up at the Kansas State Fair in 2010. Skylar Leeper checking in from Nashville, Tennessee. Cool. Skylar, get that vacation in, buddy, if that's what you're doing, because the pulling season is getting ready to start. And you got a lot of hooks and 2 trucks this year. So let's see. Mike says, Dave certainly lit up Andrews, Texas several years ago. And Ben Beller, his favorite. What do you say? Chevrolet. Kick the tires and light the fire. Now, that's mine.
So that's Ron. That's Ron Stone's.
Yeah. I give credit where credit's due. Whenever I say it, Dave, I'll say just like my buddy Dave would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's some of those. There's a fine line between borrowing from an announcer and then just kind of leaning in and taking things that you've heard. But this year it almost feels, we got to go to that well a little bit. I think we owe it to Dave, and I think it's going to be fun to kind of throw out those tags when the time is right and when that mood hits us, because just to give the folks a taste of that and to remember him, because I know I reread that text message a dozen times a week ago and says, I'm still watching. And I just promise you that's what he's going to be doing, is looking down and still watching.
What was his Ford thing? Flip over. What Ford stands for? I know there's a lot of different ones out there.
Yeah, I
can't remember. It was flip over or something, and I can't remember what the R&D stood for in his saying there. But James Raska watching from Mud Puddle, Iowa. Is that an actual town?
If that is the place, that's excellent.
Have you heard of that before, Mike?
No, it could. Maybe he just got a lot of rain, and that's the unofficial name of the town right now. But if there is a mud puddle, we might have to look that up on the map really quick. Mud Puddle, Iowa. Please be a real place.
No, I don't think it is.
I'm going to say that he's just a little drenched. Flipped over, rebuilt Dodge, or flip over redirections, or some suggestions we're getting in the comments over here.
The old rebuilt Dodge one was had a cuss word at the beginning of it, but it was flip over something. I can't remember what the R&D stood for.
Redirections is one that Chris Kilberger. Chris Kilberger suggesting that. I see you got
it. Yeah. Concord, Nebraska, a few years back, downpour canceled the second half of the show, saying it wasn't going to rain the next year. He did his usual introduction. So I can tell you, folks, for a fact that it isn't going to rain. Skylar Leeper. Porter Collins says Skylar Leeper sucks. These are diesel pickup guys kind of ribbing each other here. So fine old rebuilt Dodge. I don't know if he used these, but Fix or Repair Daily is one that I always
found on road dead is what my buddies used to tell me.
More people will say first on race day.
Well, I'm a blue oval guy myself, so I need to find the positive ones.
Oh, goodness. You're one of those Ford guys. Dave was a Ford guy.
Yep. See, I thought he was. That's why I was getting a curveball thrown, his what do you say Chevrolet. But I thought in the back of my mind, I was like, I thought Dave was a Ford fan. So I was trying to piece that together.
Yeah, I don't know if we got Tim here or not. I'm going to check and see. Tim, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. We got your
Can
audio.
You hear me?
Yeah, we can chat with you with
no Facebook or anything, but I can chat with you.
Oh, you didn't go through makeup, huh?
Well, I got my daughter with me to help me out to figure shit out.
I've met Tim a couple times, Ron. I think this is makeup. I think maybe this is.
Tim, we were just sitting here chatting. Dave Bennett passed away last week, and do you have any favorite Dave Bennett stories or sayings?
You know, give me a minute. No, Dave.
Yeah.
Usually every Saturday afternoon when he come up to Ravenna, or he come up on Friday, didn't have time to visit with him because I was always busy. But Saturday afternoon, I had to go over to his camper, and I visited with him half an hour, 2 hours, whatever, on a Saturday afternoon. And man, he had more knowledge. He was like an encyclopedia, had so much knowledge. And I just loved talking to him. And when I heard that last week, I called Kyle up because I just didn't know what was going on. And he told me, but no, I'm saddened to see him gone. He was a hell of a man, hell of an announcer. He was in Ravenna for, oh my God, I don't know how long. And we'll miss him. But you know what? The last 2 or 3 years you guys have been there. I knew he was going to retire, so I'm glad you guys were there because I got to know you guys too. So, life lives on.
Yeah.
It was unexpected. We weren't, like I was talking earlier in the show here when we opened the show that, when his wife passed away after that horrible accident there.
Yep, I remember that.
Not even 2 years ago. It'd be July. It'd be 2 years. But
yeah,
right.
She lost her life, but Dave was really banged up in that. He had a lot of broken bones and bruises and contusions, and he bounced back quite quickly for a man his age. Honestly, I was like, he's healthy. He can bounce back that fast from that.
Yeah.
But it was just unexpected.
Yep, that's what I heard too. And to me, he was a hell of a man. I love visiting with him, and he was for years and years, he was the man of the Outlaws. And like you said, he was down in Louisville all the time. And he just, man, I don't know how to say it, but just a great guy.
Yeah, we were trying to tell stories here, conversations we had with him and, his funny one-liners and things. And, it's been a few years ago at Louisville. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. I was there as a spectator and just kind of working with for the Outlaws a little bit and rubbing elbows and networking and stuff. And I just got there and literally was finishing a beer in the parking lot. I get a call I think it was Friday night session. I get a call from Dave, and I was like, "Hey, Dave, what's going on?" He said, "Hey, what you doing?" I said, "I'm sitting out here finishing my beer, getting ready to come in." He said, "Get your butt in here and walk straight down to the floor." He said, "Miss Kentucky's stuck in traffic." He was going to have me do the national anthem. He already had it set up for me to do it. I walked in, straight down on the floor. They put the National Farm Machinery Show jacket on me, hand me the microphone, and Miss Kentucky come running down the steps with about 3 minutes to spare. But
no, you didn't have to do it, but she did.
Got me a shoe in for the next year, though. Yeah. So I got Dave to thank. I did it the year after that as well. So,
well, Dave's funeral is what, tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday, I believe. Today and tomorrow they have viewings, and then the funeral's Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I love to went down there, but I'm thinking of him, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. NT Sublette. So sitting in the holler down in Texas waiting for tractor pull, Dave was awesome. I got big shoes to fill for sure.
Yeah, been thinking about that all week. Just
you gotta put a cowboy hat on and some cowboy shirts, and you'll fit right in.
I've considered wearing my cowboy hat a few times, but that was his trademark. So
yeah,
I just trademarked
twice just as a tribute, but
you gotta do the mother-in-law jokes.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about that.
Oh yeah.
Fred Petch, he would always refer to Dave. What he referred to Dave as the cowboy or something. You know, he wouldn't even say call him by name. Sometimes he just said, "Go ask the cowboy."
Well, I've been around Fred Pretch and Bennett a long part of my life, and they're both great men, and you know, they've been a big part of the tractor pull in Ravenna. Like Fred said, Ravenna is his hometown pull because they're just so close.
Yeah. And we've got people watching from Germany tonight. Gerald.
Yeah, I saw that.
Blumke from Germany watching. Thanks for tuning in. And he's commenting again. Had 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the morning right now in Germany. I think is what he's trying to say there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So Gerald up late watching the show here. So, you know, condolences to the family of Dave Bennett there. You know, the kids there in Oklahoma. Tough time. I know also, you know, a lot of the Outlaw family was closer with Dave than, you know, a lot of us were, you know, like Lori and Kevin and Richard, Tammy, you know, they were super close with Dave, and they would vacation together and plan, you know, summer trips or, you know.
Well, I think they were on that summer trip when then had that wreck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dave and Lori were.
Yeah, I think they might have done some snowmobiling together too and things like that, but they did vacation together. So I know that, and they worked so close together, Lori and Dave, for the longest period of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we've been doing the Outlaws for almost over 25 years.
Yeah.
And you know, I've known them people a long time, and I consider them great friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, like you said, you know, it's life. You know, there's one thing. It's two things sure about life. You know, in life is death and taxes. And
yep, I agree with you.
You don't know when it's coming. You know, you don't know when it's your time. So
no, that's right.
Want to send some condolences out to Brett Stamps, his family as well. I heard last night that his father had passed away, pro stock pickup puller. So
yeah,
want to send our condolences out there as well. So. You got a Dave Bennett story, you know, one-liner you think of that Dave was famous for, you know, go ahead and type it in there and send it in as a comment. But let's talk about Ravenna, Nebraska here. We are, 24 days away from the Friday night session of Ravenna.
Yep.
How's it looking out there?
Well, last summer after our track went to shit on Friday night, we rebuilt that a month later. We got drainage. We shouldn't have that problem anymore. We have tarps for the top of it. We moved a bunch of dirt down in the pits, or not in the pits, but in the staging area.
Okay.
So we have made some improvements.
Did you raise the track up? Is that what you did? You brought dirt in and raised the track?
Yeah, we did. We probably brought in 20, 25 loads of clay and built the track back up.
Okay.
And it'll drain. And if it don't, we've got tarps. So we are ready for that. So shouldn't have any problems there. And we put some dirt down in the staging area to keep the water from setting in that place. So we could do what we could do, you know, the pits area, and for rains, we're just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we did the best we could.
Oh, last year with the amount of rain that you'd had up there already, and then we got, you know, a gully washer in there Friday night. I mean,
we had it all ready to go until I come in.
Yeah, it's crazy that you guys were able to salvage that for Saturday night pull, and it actually was a pretty good track. But
yeah, it was.
You were wading in water the next morning. It was still that bad. And
yeah, we moved a lot of water and mud for 2 days. Well, at least I'm glad we could get a day off.
Yeah,
for pulling. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we won't talk about the R word except Ravenna. That's the only R word we want to talk about.
Right. And Like I said, I had the choice doing the first weekend of June and the second, and I decided to take the second. Just maybe we can get away from some rain. We had rain last weekend, but they're talking a lot of rain this weekend for Memorial Day up here. So,
Let it
we need it bad, but we work through it and we'll see what happens.
So as far as anything new this year, what the biggest addition is going to be the diesel pickups, right?
Yep. We went to the diesel pickups and we got rid of, I hate to even say we got rid of, but on that class we got rid of, there's been a lot of guys that don't want to pull in it, and I'm not going to identify the class because it's not fair to them.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a class that this wasn't going to cooperate with the Outlaws or anybody else, so we said we're going to try something different. So that's what we did.
Yeah, you had several diesel supers out there in your area, and numbers kind of have dwindled in that class for now. But give it a couple years, it may make a comeback here. But
right. But we're bringing something in different. I think people enjoy. I'll be honest with you, we're giving the diesel pickups a second chance. I'm going to say 7-8 years ago they wanted to come up here and they only brought 2.
Okay,
so we dropped them. So it's their chance to come up here and shine if they want to do it.
I think Leeper will bring a couple himself. I think if Wayman will definitely. There's a lot of competition in that class now. I think if we can get Preston in Texas to bring his 2 up there, and maybe get Richie to bring his up as well, I think you're going to have quite a few diesel pickups this year.
Well, the price of diesel to pull diesel up here from Texas is going to be expensive.
Well, let's hope that Iran conflict is over before and fuel starts going down. I
don't know. I seen it go up 30 cents yesterday in my hometown, so I don't know.
It's always going to kind of creep up there before Memorial Day, then start going back down slowly after. It's kind of a natural.
No. Yep, I agree with you. So
right here. We've already got them. They're coming out, Ron and Tim, and confirming right there. I'm excited because I think this class really has grown and expanded a lot in the past decade. So this is becoming a class that the fans and the pullers both love. So really wouldn't be surprised to see 10, 12, 14. I shouldn't talk numbers this early, but I think we'll see a really good a 3-0 class out there.
That's great. We're giving them a chance, and they got to take advantage of it. I mean, I'm not putting any pullers down. I know a lot of travel for them guys, but I think our crowd will enjoy every bit of them guys.
Yeah. And it's got to be neat, too, to introduce something kind of like, you said that the crowd maybe hasn't seen in 5 years or 10 years, or to kind of change their perspective on what they think of it. So regardless of how it panned out, it's kind of neat to bring in a new class from time to time, too, I imagine.
Well, I don't know much about all that. I just kind of put the show on, but Bill Bennett knows everything. And if we didn't have Bill on that committee, we'd be in trouble. And you guys know Bill.
Yep, Bill Barrett. There's another 3-0 and Pro 4 before that's coming there. So
great.
He's bringing 1, maybe 2. He must not have the second one done just yet. So
well, even maybe being a week later for us, we maybe have some guys get some stuff put back together too. Yeah. Being that first week of June, it was always tough to get a lot of equipment there because a lot of guys were looking for parts and trying to get stuff put together too. So
yeah. That always seems to be the case anymore. Seems like since COVID, everybody's still trying to catch up. It seems like.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So, and our weather the last 4 years has not helped us out at all. But we work our tail off to see it rain.
Yeah, it's. I tell you what, the last couple up there have been some pretty wicked storms that rolled through.
Yeah, we had one go through here last Sunday afternoon, and about 40 miles east of us, it took like 5 or 6 houses.
Mm.
Then last Saturday night, you go about 30 miles west of us, and they had 4-inch hail, and they just destroyed everything. So last Friday, Saturday, we had some hellacious storms up here.
There's some pretty nasty ones rolled through last night as well.
Just in southeast part of the state. We didn't have nothing here, so. But they had some tornadoes, and up around Omaha and Ashland through there, they had some on Saturday. So yeah, we've had some tornadoes going through this part of the country.
Okay. Marty's asking if the price of fuel going to hurt. Hard to tell, but you have to assume that it could. So that's why we're kind of fingers crossed they're going to get this thing in Iran done and get the price down there where it should be soon. But
Marty dived in.
Yeah, Marty's always here.
I know he is. That's why I said that.
He's commented 3 or 4 times already, and we're only halfway through here. So,
well,
de facto mayor of Ravenna.
If people want to come see stuff, that's why we haven't raised the price of our entry fee for years and years and years. Just because we want people to be affordable to come see a great show.
If you're looking at $20 for adults, that's 13 and up.
$5 from 5 to 12, whatever, 5 to 13. That's all we do.
4 and under's free. 2 nights, 7 p.m. both nights.
Yes.
What's the alcohol policy there?
You got to buy the alcohol inside the gates, but you can bring a cooler in with this plain cooler.
Oh,
that's
cool.
it.
You can bring a cooler, but no refreshments in there. You
Right. We are on city property, so we gotta stick to their policies.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and the state. The state they have laws regarding alcohol too and licenses.
But you can do anything on the other side of that fence line where we have our tent, and stuff.
Yeah,
that's private property. They can't even touch that. You can do whatever you want.
The pit area is party central then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, we've had fun out there, Ron. Each of the past 2 years, if I remember right, once you get out across the fence over in that area, the rains came down, but fun was still had. Everyone's always excited. Ravenna's fun because for the past 2 years, it started the season, and it's like a big family reunion, and just people you haven't seen and pullers that haven't seen each other, and you have this big infectious atmosphere. And even with the bad storms, it was right up until first green each of the past 2 years on Friday night before the plug was finally pulled. I mean, really, the effort and what that track can take is impressive. So with the adjustments you guys have made going in, I feel really good about what we're going to see this year.
Well, we knew we had to do something. So, guys travel a long ways to come to Ravenna, and they enjoy coming to Ravenna. Like you said, it's the first pull of the year for most of them. I know Norfolk's having one earlier?
Yeah, on the 5th. Yep.
Okay, so, I know they're limited classes. I know we're one of the bigger classes or pulls in the Outlaws. So, I do enjoy it. I've known a lot of them guys for a long time, and it's just like you said, it's like a family reunion. You get to see guys once a year, and I work my tail off for it, and I got all my crew works their tail off, but we do enjoy doing it, and I don't know how much we're going to do it because we're all getting damn old.
Well, I'm right there with you, buddy. I feel it more and more every day, But let's look at the class lineup here. 22, of course, that's 11 classes a night. There's big pull, 3.0 diesel pickups, light limited modifieds, pro stock 4x4s, light super ag, light limited pro, super farm, limited pro, light super stock, 2-wheel drive, and modified. So a lot of iron to go down the track over there. And of course, the new 3.0 diesel pickups coming back there. Going to be a good show. Friday and Saturday, June 12th and 13th, 7 p.m. each night. Anabar Park is the location there for the Ravenna Truck and Tractor Pull. Any sponsors you want to mention here before we let you go, Tim?
Oh, if we didn't have all of our I'm not going to speak anybody out, but if we didn't have all of our local sponsors, from seed corn companies to chemical farmers, we couldn't do this. We couldn't do this because, if we had a runoff gate, we would only have one hook class, So we rely on everything that I just said to keep this thing going. And it's getting tougher because every year it just costs more money to do it. So me and Bill had a good talk today about it, and I just hope we can make it work this year.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and not talk about the R word. Camping. Do you have camping out there, Tim?
Well, on the west side of our track, we got probably enough for 10 campers, maybe 15.
Okay.
And then we got, you go east of our track, we call the Buffalo County Lake. There's probably 40 to 50 campsites out there.
Okay.
It's around a lake, and it's just a beautiful lake. And, if they got some way to get in town and they can park their campers out there, you just got to get a hold of the Ravenna. I think you got to call Ravenna. Just call the Ravenna Chamber of Commerce to get a place to spot. On all of it, because it's all on.
I wasn't even thinking about it when I said it. I parked there the last 2 or 3 years.
I say that's right where we put our RVs, but it's a beautiful city park where it's all at, and there is a handful of camping, and there are pulling fans. There's some diehards that go to a lot of pulls, and they're there. I mean,
they are.
So there's a nice little atmosphere out there.
I've had a couple that comes from Iowa every year, and I bet I've talked to them for 20 years. I drive my 4-wheeler over just to see if they're there.
Yep. I know just who you're talking about. I've chatted with them each of the past 2 years. They love outlaw truck and tractor pulling.
So we do have, we do have a motel uptown that's not real available, but if you're bringing a camper, that's the 2 available spots. So,
yeah. Well, Tim, we're going to let you go here. We've got another guest in the green room. So, June 12th and 13th, going to be an awesome pull out there. 11 classes each night, 2 tracks, 2 sleds. Looking forward to it, Tim.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys again. It's always a privilege to see you guys. And Ron, I need to talk to you about that poster. I'll just call you tomorrow or the next day.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Tim. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I'll give all these comments here. I don't want to leave anybody out. Assuming Ravenna's being live streamed, yes, Ravenna will be live streamed on Full Pull Live. So, second guest coming in tonight. He's a puller. He's also a business owner that sponsors the class he pulls in, the Pro Stock Semi Class, sponsored by Jerseyville Truck Repair. Go ahead and throw that logo up there, Mike. Jerseyville Truck Repair in Jerseyville, Illinois. Sponsor of the Outlaw Pro Stock Semi Class, Richard Dar. Richard, how's it going?
Oh, it's not bad. A little tired.
We get you out of the shop?
Yeah, I'm trying going back.
Oh man. You come in and get showered up just for the show, then you're gonna go back and get dirty again, or what?
I'm only clean from the waist up, so you only gotta look good up here, right? So but no, I have every intention of going back and working more.
Okay. How far is the shop from home there?
It's not far, probably 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay, because I know shop is Jerseyville, but I know when we announce your name when you're pulling, it's a different town, right?
Yeah, I'm right on the line. I'm in Brighton, but
right.
I'm out in the country. I'm kind of lucky it's not storming more, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. My Starlink would give out.
Okay. All right. So what's new over there at Jerseyville Truck Repair?
Nothing. We're just the same as always. Just same as always, trying to get race trucks and pulling trucks done, and neither one are.
Chasing your tail over there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Trying to make trucks better as far as performance wise and looks wise. And I mean, right now concentrating on race trucks. Heck, I've worked 18-hour days and nights trying to get stuff done, and we're not. I mean, we're close as far as the race truck goes. It's pretty much done, and we leave tomorrow.
What's harder on these trucks, pulling or racing?
Each one has its ups and downs. I mean, racing is you're skating a thin line, and then if you break, you got 30 minutes to get it back together. Or you're done. Pulling, you usually got one go at it, and I mean, my take on it is if it breaks, I don't care. I'm going to give it everything it's got, and if it leaves it out there, well, then I'll fix it later. So I'm basically, I can go a lot crazier with a pulling truck because I only got to go a few hundred feet. Race truck, I got to do that several times. So, I mean, I tend to care less if I break when I'm pulling than when I'm racing.
Did we get in a situation last year? I feel like I heard Ron mention this on the mic a couple of times where you actually had a couple trucks that were transitioning back and forth between both sports. Am I making that up? Or you had the same trucks that were pulling and racing, which is obviously not something we see with any of our other vehicles. Tell us about that a little bit.
No, I mean, yes and no. I know Joe did a lot. His racing truck pulled two in the Ford. For us, we had every intention of bringing the race truck out because it had put on a show. But to be honest with you, we never had the time last year between other guys' trucks breaking and our own trucks breaking to even try to tackle the third one. So it was, it was do our best to just show up. Because I'm basically trying to keep, Brent's truck's one that we helped put together, and I'm basically trying to keep three trucks alive because when something bad happens, well, it's me that he calls. So, it's maintaining three, and all three of them have the same attitude. If they leave it out on the track, so be it. So, you're pretty much figuring on something's breaking and, we're fixing it. So, last year in Texas, I know me and Brent had to travel to get parts to get his to run the next night because he broke it the night before. So, I will say racing, we do take a lot more spare parts. Like racing right now, I got spare drive shaft, spare yoke, spare U-joint, spare transmission, spare clutch discs. Yeah. All that will go with me racing. And pulling, pulling's nice because if you break it, you just find somebody to shove it on the trailer. So,
yeah, that racing seemed like it would be hard on driveline parts, U-joints in particular.
It is. It's different because pulling, you're leaving, and at the end it gets rowdy. With racing, at the beginning it's rowdy. Yeah. So, definitely different, but both have the same amount of adrenaline. So, them guys that pull tractors just don't know what they're missing if they ain't pulling a semi because it's a different kind.
Brent, talking about Brent Roberts there, he told me initially when he first started building his truck was, this is cheaper than running a limited pro. And last year, I don't know if he could say that about last year. He had a pretty rough year last year, breaking right off the bat there, and he said it wasn't a good year for him.
I think I don't know how to put this. What do I say? The stuff that broke didn't have my hands on it. I'll put it that way. But it normally, no. Like blue collar, for instance, that was our spare parts. Unfortunately, the spare parts that goes to the engine that was in it we threw it together with my race truck parts. Like they were the parts that went in that were supposed to go in my race truck. So I had to buy them again. And, but like I said, for example, blue collar, that's a 84 359. That's the original 8LL transmission that came in that truck that's in there. Now it won't be this year, but every pull that you've seen last year was the original 8LL that was behind a 425 horsepower B model cat.
Wow.
So
that thing hung together all year.
It did. And it was neat to watch that truck because it went from, where were we over there in southeast Iowa, where we just kind of wondered, what's this thing going to be? And you kind of, like you said, it's a spare parts truck. It's kind of the afterthought. But by season's end, it had kind of figured out what it wanted to be as a truck, and it won the war, You know, it didn't win every battle, but it won the war and found its way into a points championship just by being tough. You know, it was a fun season to watch how that all came together for that machine.
It is. I mean, I'm telling you, that was spare parts. That truck was drug out of the weeds up until probably the last maybe pull or two. There was, if you looked at the antenna on the roof, there was still a vine that had died on it that was wrapped up in there because it had literally came out of the weeds. We hacked the back off. We had a big set of lockers that came off of a garbage truck, and we threw it under there, built an engine out of spare parts, had a spare clutch, flywheel, all that, and that was it. We put it out there. I mean, we wanted more trucks. We wanted to put on a show, so we did what we could. Now this year, you know, we're going to get it painted, make it look more like something that we would own and drive. We've updated the drive line as far as the transmission, engine, turbo. We'll do more as we can, but it's not expensive to get into. I mean, everybody wants to win, but honestly, the fun that you have even in the first year, if it's spare parts, at least you're out there, work your way up slowly. Learn it a little bit. Sometimes it's better to go in with low power and learn how to make one hook up than it is to jump in at full bore.
Sure. I've seen some deals on some semis. But I'll be like, man, if only I had something to pull that to the pulls. I don't think my pickup will pull that around.
Oh, man. I mean, anybody with a good gooseneck can pull a semi. I mean, put it over the tires and go. But I mean, I love pulling semis. I love racing semis. Like I said, not that I wouldn't pull a tractor. Somebody's like, hey, come drive this for me. But the tightness in the parts is what gets me. Like, you know, every year another turbo because we gained 10 horsepower on a wheel, or, you know, we did. I ain't got time for that. If I don't grenade it, then it must be okay, and we're going to run it again. So, I mean, that's the best part about like pulling us. I mean, it is competitive, but a lot of it has to do with where you pick to go down the track and just how you drive that night. I mean, horsepower is a big thing. Obviously, we got some that'll put down some killer power. But even still, though, like I said, the weakest truck out there won the points championship, and that was the blue collar. I mean, it was consistent. It showed up, and it went on the track every time.
How do we see this class growing in the future? I would say this is an absolute fan favorite. I mean, the crowd goes nuts at the end of the night when they see these semis going down the track, and we'll consistently get, 3, 4, 5, 6 semis. But if we could stretch that out to 9 or 10 double digits, I mean, is this a matter of getting other pullers to come over and say, we want to build one of those too, or attracting the truck driving class? I mean, you as someone who does it, give me your pitch to, say, okay, guys, here's how you want to come try this. How can we grow this class?
Honestly, north of us, east of us, it's growing. For some reason, where we are, as far as, you guys run a lot in Missouri, I'm obviously in Illinois, but there's not a lot. And I think a lot of it has to do with, semi parts used to be astronomically expensive and hard to come by. You were dealing with Cyclone and other guys like that were super secretive. When semi racing came into play, when it came down from Canada over the last, I think 8 years, it's expanded the parts. You can get parts, injectors, things that used to cost you $20,000 for a set of injectors, you can get for $8,000. Turbos, they're finally building a turbo that, a bigger exhaust wheel than you were always stuck with a 4.1 Charger off of a tractor with a 4.25 or 4.5 exhaust wheel. Now it's easy to get one with a 5-inch exhaust wheel where you can actually make power with it like you should. Clutches, always secret there. Now, there's several places that make it. Easiest is Atlas. Call Carl. Tell him he'll build a flywheel, even if you have something odd. And it's just not complicated. I think people are scared of it because they knew it to be complicated. It's not anymore. The blue collar runs a CAT ECM. It's not that complicated. Brent runs a CAT ECM as well. Used to be you paid a fortune to make a CAT run, and anymore, you can turn 4,000 RPMs out of one of them on a set of stock rods. My race truck ran stock rods, and it's 3,000 horsepower and, 120 pounds of boost I mean, it'll run a 12-second quarter mile. I mean, it's not like it used to be. Stuff's better, stuff's cheaper. I mean, I would say if you got an old sitting out with a B model, don't think you're going to come out and compete, because you're not. You're going to spend way much more on a pump and the pieces to make that mechanical run with me than you'll ever spend putting an electronic engine together.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be. So
explain this to me. I understand it, but I want you to explain it to the people out there that watch it, are used to watching pro stock tractors and limited pro stock tractors. When they see that fire come out of that stack and then the water injection comes on and protects that engine from melting down, you guys come out there sometimes and you'll blow fire out of that stack all the way down the track. How do you do that without melting that thing down?
I mean, we're running a steel piston in a semi, which ours are usually cut, also, of course, lower compression, but we're not running super light pieces. Like, I mean, every tractor wants, that's super light because you want the RPMs, you want, we don't have to worry about that. I mean, we're way heavier, way thicker. Brett was the same way when he started it. He's like, oh, I don't like that candle. I'm like, run that son of a gun. I'm telling you, run it. I have his engine that he blew up last year still at my shop in pieces, and the pistons are not hurt. They look just like they did when we put them in. It's just a different animal. I tell him all the time, run it, run that thing. I'll tell you right now, if I tell you run it and you melt it down, bring it. I'll fix it for free. It's not going to happen. I've been down this road too many times. EGT is a number I don't give a crap about. I can tell you my race truck, the first time I tore it down, I pulled the EGT probe out of it, and it was melted and bent so far over I had to beat it out with a hammer. And I never looked at the number again, and that was a few years ago. So it's I'm gonna put a couple of
videos up here, a couple of good passes by a couple semi trucks.
Jerseyville Truck Repair, a family-owned and operated company, has ASE Master Certified mechanics with over 30 years of experience. Jerseyville Truck Repair offers all-in-one repair and maintenance services for commercial, semi-trucks, and 18-wheelers, also committed to quality service and providing you with a safe, reliable, and dependable vehicle. Check them out at JerseyvilleTruckRepair.com. Not only fleet services and over-the-road trucks, but competition trucks as well, engine building to boot there at the Jerseyville Truck Repair Shop, and semi-truck pulling trucks. They work on those as well. So here comes Richard Dar, one bad binder. Nice pull for Richard Dar. Was it enough?
So I didn't even realize that was me on the mic there, that you got both tires up in the air at the end of that pass. I was on the other end of the track. That's pretty cool to see both of them coming up off the ground like that.
You want to know a funny story about that pull? Is those guys came down from up north, and I didn't know they were coming. Brent didn't tell me. And they're running like a 4.6 Charger, and we're on a 4.1. Mm-hmm. So not gonna lie, it kind of aggravated me. So I decided that I was either gonna break that thing and leave it laying out there or beat them. So I left hard as I could, and that hop at the end and stuff, that isn't because I wanted both tires up. That's because when it hopped, I hopped and I fell forward and I pegged it again. So that wasn't intentional. I was actually backing out of it when it did that hop, and it threw me forward a little bit. And when it did, my hand threw the throttle forward again, and I couldn't get seated again to get it back. Otherwise, I mean, so I already knew I'd put it on him enough that I was letting out of it, and then it hopped and it threw it back to it. That wasn't intentional.
Well, that's where they say these vehicles, I talk to pullers all the time, and they say the vehicles have a mind of their own, and all you can do is coexist with them. So you might have felt like you had proven your point, but the one bad binder, it said, no, we got a little bit more. We got to go out there. So she was just talking to you a little bit right there.
Yeah, it wasn't that wasn't intentional, and everybody really liked it, and they told me how great it was. But I mean, and I'm hard on stuff, but I wasn't planning on being that hard on it. So that was not intentional.
Yeah,
and that
for a good show.
And the gray truck that pulled before, I mean, I know Mike has it. It's sitting in the shed. He'd sell it if anybody wanted to pull it.
But is he not going to pull it this year? Or?
He has every intention of pulling it, but his business right now, with the business that they're in and the trucking side of it, they're so busy he can't catch a break. So I mean, he has the desire, but sometimes you just lack the time to get away to be able to do it. So I mean, he wants to. I'm not going to say he won't, but I know it could be bought too. But that truck right there is a prime example of we bought it and cleaned it up and straightened some things out on it, but it was on borrowed turbos all its life. Like, we never actually put any real effort into it. We never had time. So like Brett drove it as much as I did, and I think he grenaded at least 3 turbos on it. And that was because they were whatever we had laying around that was left over, and most of them were already wore out, but we put them on and ran them anyway. And
yeah, that first year we brought the semis back, that was pretty much the truck to beat that year. With that gray Pete. It was pretty tough. So
yeah.
NT Sublet had a question for you, Richard, about do you run bobtail and loaded?
Yeah, both. Yep, it's usually somewhere in between 120 and 150,000 is what we're running when we're loaded, what we're pulling. Yep.
So let's talk about your business here for a minute or two. Jerseyville Truck Repair. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been a truck mechanic since I was about 18, but my own shop I've had right at 13 years.
Okay. You do a lot of the performance stuff. Which do you do more of, the over-the-road stuff or the performance stuff?
Well, we do a lot of performance over-the-road stuff. So, I mean, we can pretty much – I'd say our strong suit is that electronics are one of our strong suits. Like, I'm going to say I'll put myself up against anybody when it comes to electronics. So we can pretty much put an engine in anything that's out there, and we do a lot of conversions. So if somebody calls me and says, I was told this can't be done, I'm like, shit, I'll do it. Bring it on. So, I mean, we do a lot of over the road, but we don't do oil changes. I'll put it that way. It's all major work. We do. It's all major work. It's a lot of engine work. So, but we can do anything. We custom tune trucks. We'll do whatever anybody wants. It's just, whatever they think they want, we can make it happen.
Okay. That's Jerseyville Truck Repair Inc., right?
Yes, sir.
Jerseyville Truck Repair Inc.com. So we're about to run out of time here. Richard, I appreciate you taking the time out tonight. Appreciate you being a sponsor of the Pro Stock Semi class with the Outlaws. Look forward to seeing you out there on the pulling circuit this year.
Well, we'll be there.
We will let you go back to work. How about that?
Okay, that sounds great.
We gave you a little break, so appreciate it, Richard. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.
Yep.
See.
Yeah, awesome interview there.
Yeah, fun.
Great guy, great mechanic. And he is a competitor too. Like he said, when these guys came down from Minnesota, and he wasn't expecting them to come down with those bigger turbos. And he had a chip on his shoulder at that point. He was going to beat and he did. I think he went 400 and some feet. And just put it on him.
Basically, what they do, here's what I gathered when you talked about, and I think his pulling style and his business could be kind of summed up in the same way. And you said, is it more over the road or is it more performance? They light candles, Ron. They're lighting the candles on things. He was talking about how he's not afraid to keep that candle lit and keep that, stack glowing. So that's kind of what they do out there. They light candles for a living.
So awesome night here. I did want to, I should have put these up during when we were talking about Dave, but had some couple pictures here. Wanted to put them on the screen. Of course, this is when Dave came in, and one of the many times I pulled him out of retirement here to help me, and that was from the Cowtown Showdown. I'm not sure which year that was. We had 3 of those, and there's another one there as well. And there he is with Lori. Lori's pointing something out, and I'm over there talking. But this was one of the Cowtowns. Looks like 2020. I've got it on my shirt there. So this was the COVID Cowtown Showdown there. So during 2020. But rest in peace, Dave Bennett. Always and forever the voice of the Outlaws.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No doubt about it.
Thank everyone for all the comments, all the nice comments about Dave and all the, the different sayings and one-liners he had. So thank you to our guests. Thank you, Tim McKeown from Ravenna, Nebraska, and thanks Richard Dar of Jerseyville Truck Repair. So everyone have a great rest of your week. Keep counting those days down. We're 17 days away to the start of the outlaw pulling season. The 5th of June there in Norfolk, Nebraska kicks it all off. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great night and a great rest of your week, everyone.